Welcome. What's going on, brother? How are you? Happy
Good.
Thursday afternoon.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Dave. Appreciate it, man. Yeah, back in town. We were out in Phoenix for the week, meeting with other real estate investors and showing them all the new stuff that we're doing, and just got back and excited. My sister's getting married on Saturday, so excited. All the kids are going to be at the wedding. It's going to be a fun weekend, man.
That's awesome. Good for you, man. Weddings are great. Well, that's awesome.
Hopefully it doesn't snow. We'll see, but yeah, well, might be a little interesting.
Yeah, I think we'll be okay. I think
Yeah,
we'll be all right. Well,
perfect.
that's awesome. Well, Matt, thanks for jumping on with me. Just for a
Mhm.
quick, 25, 30-minute update. Me
Yeah.
and you were texting earlier today about some new
Mhm.
updates, and you were also mentioning about how the driving for dollars virtually with Deal Machine has been
Yep.
updated and how
Yeah.
it's killer now. So, dude,
Mhm.
I'm just glad that you had, a couple minutes to share with me. And I'm like, hey, instead of planning something out, let's just go live and let's just talk about this in real
Perfect.
time. I love it,
Yeah.
man. I love it. So tell us about some of the big picture updates before we dive into the driving for dollars, the virtual.
Yeah, I love it. And I think, one, appreciate you having me on. Always excited to do this. Always have a good time with you. I think our development team, I'd say just in general, they're crazy busy. They move fast. They're awesome at listening to you guys and taking your input and turning that into these updates. Like, you can see, if you look at the app store, you'll see the history of how often our app is updated, and it's every 2 weeks. Like, we're cranking out new stuff all the time. We're always fixing things. We have a running list of suggestions that were from within the Deal Machine app, people submitting, hey, here's what we would love for you to build for us to make it an even more powerful technology to go out and find those off-market deals and go land those off-market deals. And we checked off a ton of things on that list within the last couple of weeks with this new update. So excited to kind of give you the overview. I think to kind of jump right in, I know a lot of your audience may be familiar with us. We're just high level. Our mission is to really help real estate investors, find and land off market deals. Like, we want to give everyone the power of real estate investing, and by giving them a tool where you can go out there, not have any real past experience. You go out trying to find your first deal. Like, we want to give you technology that's extremely easy to just open up on the mobile app or the desktop, which I'll show off today. But open up the mobile app, be able to know right away, how do I add leads? How do I start looking for fixer upper properties? How do I track those leads within Deal Machine? How do I reach out to people and start talking to motivated sellers? And everything that we're doing is to make that onboarding process and make that process extremely quick and easy to just go from, hey, I don't know where to start, to, oh, I'm talking to motivated. So what I'd say the big update on mobile with that is the map itself. Like, being able to go in, you jump in a Deal Machine, you lock onto your location, and the idea for the driving for dollars portion is to start driving around your area and looking for fixer upper properties, right? Like, you want to look for those properties that have signs of physical distress. Like, is there anything that you look for in particular, Dave, whenever you're out driving for dollars?
Man, anything and everything that shows that the property is in some sort of distress. There's a million things to look for, right? But like the big things, come on, guys, the big things would be like tall grass or a
Mm-hmm.
tarp on the roof or a boarded up window. Come on, these things are easy to recognize.
Yeah.
I like to see trees leaning up against houses or big sticks on top of roofs, right? People haven't got up there to clean those things off, peeling paint, gutters hanging off the property. I like to see decks that are falling apart. Just anything, right? Anything and everything that shows that, hey, the seller hasn't kept up with the property. Maybe there's
Mm-hmm.
something going on, or maybe they don't have the resources or the finances to make these repairs, which makes for great motivated sellers.
Yeah, if you have any tips, throw that in the comments as well. For anybody watching this, like, if stuff that they look for when they go out and drive for dollars. But especially, I know we were talking about snow here, to start this, like, things like that. If you're in a market that's seasonal, when it snows, you'll see, like, hey, is there a spot that there isn't footprints, or they didn't shovel the driveway, or they didn't they're not keeping up with the maintenance of that particular property, those little things go a really long way too. So in the end, yeah, you're right. You're looking for these property owners, these, could even be a tired landlord, just anybody who owns a property that you are creating a list of those yourself. So you're creating a list that no one else has, and which means, hey, you're finding those hidden gems. You're finding those diamonds in the rough that other investors can't easily get access to, because you're putting in the work of driving around and looking for these properties that aren't being taken care of. So
absolutely, you're looking for the people that are neglecting properties. That's really it at the end of the day, because if they're neglecting the property, well, the property is probably a problem, but that also may shine a light on the fact that this person may have other problems, right? It's not always that the property has to be super, super distressed. Sometimes it can just be subtle signs of distress, but there could be massive levels of distress in that individual's life that we can help by purchasing the property and getting them some capital, some money to go fix other problems in their life. So, Matt, I couldn't agree more with everything you just said.
Yeah. So everything we're giving people, we want to make sure that experience of adding those leads and of driving around and finding those types of properties has no lag, makes it real, is tracking your route really well, is, able to keep up with your, you driving around and you having just a great experience of doing that. So we've actually upgraded map providers for that reason. And that was like a 6-month process. That was a huge undertaking for our development team. Really, really excited now. If you jump in the mobile app, like, you can zoom in and out. You can see a bigger picture with your whole city. You can zoom in and be able to experience the feel of something very, very smooth. It's night and day in terms of the experience with the tracking and the map, overall drive tab there. So really excited. That's something that's not necessarily as easy to show off visually, but if you check out the app, or if you log into it again now, that's one thing that's been phenomenal and getting really, really good feedback from people. The next level beyond that too is not just, okay, free drive and driving around and adding properties, but our planned route mode that has been majorly upgraded as well. So, and this is a feature for our kind of pro level plans and up. Like, this is something that when you're first starting out, you can use a little bit, but I think this is more the people who are really establishing a habit of getting out there, of driving often. Like, this next level feature, this is what it'll take you to a place to be able to consistently add leads and do it in a really time efficient way. And that is our planned route mode. And really how it works, when you jump in the app, you hit drive to start driving around. You have two options. You can free drive, which that's what we just talked about, of like, hey, driving around the map, pinning properties, all that. The planned route mode, that specific function, now you can go in and it'll tell you, okay, what filter do you want to use to be able to plan this route? So you can go in. I don't know, Dave, do you have any recommendations of whenever you're, say you're looking for a specific type of property? Is there anything that you look for, like high equity or absentee owned?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the neighborhood, Matt, but I mean, it just really, like, the low hanging fruit is always going to be the absentee owned or the vacants.
Yep.
There's going to be less vacants than absentee owned because, absentee owned just means that they don't get the tax bill sent to their property, right?
Right.
But typically the low hanging fruit, is always going to be those two. If you're in an area that doesn't have a lot of vacants or very many absentees, high equity can be good. Pre-foreclosure can be good. Years of ownership at, 12, 15, 18, even 20 years can be helpful. So there's lots of different little things that you can add in there to help highlight properties.
So we added all of those, everything you just mentioned there. Those are all separate filters within Deal Machine. So you can go in, you can hit the highlights button. You can say, okay, highlight properties that fit that criteria. They haven't sold in 12, 15 years. They're, high equity, they're, vacant, whatever you're looking at, and use that as kind of a guide to start off. You can, as you hit that highlight button, you also can now circle around a particular area. So you can draw and say, hey, show me this block or show me this part of my city that, that those highlights fit within this very specific area. If this is an area that you want to invest in, that there are cash buyers lined up, or that it's going to be a great BRRRR opportunity, and, put those two things together. And on our planned route mode, it'll automatically import GPS right there and tell you, hey, here is the fastest way possible to
go drive all of these, So you're saying that when you add the
Mhm.
filters, you can then drive to the filters property.
Exactly. Yeah. And the reason why you want to do that, like, one, yeah, while you're driving around, like, that's not the only property you should be looking for. If you were just going to do that, you might as well just pull a list, right? Like, you want to go out and drive around and look for those physically distressed properties like you talked about. But combining these two things together, where you have a planned route going to these particular criteria properties, I mean, that's going to give you the opportunity to do many things, like go out, and we have people doing that in door knocking. We have people doing that and leaving a hanger on the door. We have people, or a sticky note. We have people doing that and trying to talk to neighbors and talk to that particular neighborhood and try to learn more information about those properties. We have people who they have a list that they pulled from somewhere, or that they got in some other way, maybe from another technology, maybe from the city, however they got it. And they're checking off that sign of physical distress. So that way they know if they have less marketing budget to work with, the sign of physical distress, in addition to the other motivators that they've already lined up, those two things together make it an extremely high quality lead. So, for a lot of different reasons, they're using this as a way to score leads and as a way to really reach out to people in a unique way. And the big update from a mobile perspective is we've made that whole process way simpler, way easier, and it just works.
Nice. So new map, new features within the map in terms of filters and overlays and driving to and from the overlays that you put on the map. You guys got all kinds of cool stuff. And then what's going on with this virtual D4D, man? This is the main, this is the grand finale.
Yeah, for sure. So the second portion of that is I want to show off. Can you share my screen here? Hopefully I can.
Absolutely,
show
man.
this off in real time.
Absolutely. Let's get you up
There we
on
go.
the screen. Here you go.
Awesome,
Nice.
awesome. Hopefully my internet connection is decent enough to be able to show this off in a fun way. But
It looks good.
yeah. So yeah, man. So, and you can see actually right here too, these are all past routes that now you can easily just see any past route, whether it be, searching by person. You can go in here and say, hey, show me everything that let's see here, that Garcia has driven in the past. I have past driver in here. Yeah. So you can go in here and search and say, hey, search by driver, search by, different tasks, search by a variety of different things to go in and see past routes that you've gone. And you can see, hey, this person drove 24 leads, drove 54 miles, did it for over 3 hours. And you can go through and actually, kind of just better manage your routes that you're doing and be able to consistently know what areas that you're going to go to and what areas you should be going to and have been. But the virtual piece right here, when you hit start driving, this is the thing that we've had a Chrome extension before. Like, we've had that as kind of a plugin for people to use, but that's it's good to have if you are using Chrome, and it's definitely a kind of a good initial first step towards this virtual driving for dollars. But we've had a huge upgrade here. Where now inside of the app, if we just click start driving virtually, hit that button right here, and that'll immediately plop us in. If this will load up okay here, there we go. Perfect. So this will immediately plop us in here to the Google Street View. So this will actually show off importing in the Google Map real-time. Here we go, real-time picture, where you can start actually using this to look around, and you'll see the map turn with me as I look around in particular areas, and use this as a way to go and just start clicking for dollars. Start using this where you're inside of the Deal Machine app, able to continuously drive, look for properties that, like we talked about, are fixer-uppers in your particular area. You can actually, the coolest part of this, I think, is being able to see this tracked route here too. You can see this orange line that's popping up behind me. Like, that'll actually show me. So now that you're actually physically driving around and physically looking for fixer-upper properties and seeing your routes there, now you can actually track your routes of how long you've clicked around too. So that way you can go and plan that way. Like, you can go in, and we're seeing people, this is a way, like, one, if it's snowing, or if it's terrible weather out, or if it's, whatever your market condition is, it's weatherproof. It makes it easy, and it's a rush hour proof too. So it's keeping you safe, whether it be in the snow, whether it be driving home in busy streets, It'll save you gas, gas money for sure, which I know something right now that's not to be paying for. A lot of benefits that way. Outside of that, we're seeing people take this as a strategy to go next level in terms of how they can use their time more wisely. And, what we see people doing here is going in and actually like saying, hey, instead of just having a bird dog be able to be added to their team, why don't you look at things like a virtual assistant? Or why don't you look at something saying, hey, somebody who's working from home and maybe they're watching TV and maybe they're, taking a little bit of downtime. Why don't they just do this from their couch and make it really easy that way? You can see, all kinds of different use cases for this, where you can come in and just, right inside the app, be able to track your routes, be able to compare this to other routes that you're driving. And as you're driving around here, you can clean easily see, okay, each individual property that I click on, it'll automatically show you, is it corporate owned, and what's the situation with this particular property, and you can, it just seamlessly imports all of that property owner information right into the app as you're clicking around and looking virtual, and showing you things like sale date, sale price, assessed value, bed bath, square footage, that stuff. So yeah, man, it's been fun to mess with this and hearing great feedback so far.
Nice. Yeah, this looks really, really cool. So you guys actually have it to where you see the overhead on the left, the map itself, and then you can see the street view on the same page. So where if you move one, the other moves too, it looks like, right?
Yeah. So it follows you around here. And I know have a little bit of lag here with the live stream. I know the internet is having a little bit of an issue.
Oh yeah, it's all good, man. No problem.
But yeah, the whole goal with this is be able to seamlessly keep it inside the app, not have to go anywhere else, be able to quickly add leads and be able to see and say, hey, here's a property I'm looking at right here, where it automatically pops up, on the map where you can see, what the situation is with this particular property. Click on the, property owner card, see that's absentee owned. Okay, cool. Sold back in November 2020. Hit add lead, and you're able to quickly continue to build your list virtually like this. In addition to be able to physically drive around.
No, I love it, man. I think this is sweet. Very, very, very cool, Matt. Very, very cool. It's always nice to have updates when we're using these apps and these softwares. So not only did you guys get a new map provider, but you guys have tons of updates on the mobile app. I mean, that's typically where I use Deal Machine at the most. However, sometimes when we have a virtual assistant or even a local person in my office here that is looking for something to do, we can always have them just go virtually drive for dollars. And the cool thing is it doesn't matter, again, like you said, right? It doesn't matter if they're here locally in my office or if they're in another country even.
Yeah,
you can just tell them, hey, this is the neighborhood, this is zip code, this is the city even that I want to be looking for deals in. Go out, virtually drive for dollars. You can do it on your computer. You can probably use your iPad and, just locate deals. And then from there, as always, this isn't anything new, but this is definitely one of the best parts of Deal Machine is that you can look up the property owner. You can figure out what they owe on the property. You can even run comps now in there, which is great. But you can contact them. That's the main thing, right? You can get their phone number, you can get their email, or maybe even just send a postcard directly to them, all from the app or the website. Love it, man.
That's the next step right there.
They're great.
Yeah, man. That's the next step right there is like you said, it's either physically driving or virtually driving. You're creating that list of leads of physically distressed property owners. And then the next step is how do you reach out to them? So we make it one-off mailer you can send. You can just send a postcard right through the app to contact them. One-off skip trace to be able to get, contact information, to call, text, email right there. And the virtual stuff too. Like, hey, if you're in a market that's crazy expensive and not able to, you're not wanting to invest locally, now you can take that on the road and click for dollars, virtually drive for dollars in another market and use the imaging through Google Maps, which updates quickly and updates. They do. It's most markets you'll see it's only maybe a year old or less picture.
Yeah, it's pretty. They're pretty good about getting their cars out there and driving all these neighborhoods, which is crazy. And one thing we didn't even mention, Matt, is that the price of gas is going up.
Yeah, that's
So
yeah. So
I
that's
mean,
what
it
I'm saying. It's
doesn't
not fun to pay for
necessarily
gas right
affect
now, man.
me, thank God,
Yeah.
but it does affect a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And, I still recommend you get out and drive for dollars, even if you're paying double the gas that you might have paid a year ago, because
Mm-hmm.
the best deals are going to come from driving for dollars. Let's be honest. Like, I would
100%.
say, I'd say 7 out of 10 of our best deals ever have come
Mm-hmm.
from driving for dollars, because you can identify the property and it needs work. It's distressed. It's very obvious, but
Yeah.
assuming that gas is something that you are budgeting for, well, you can do this from home now, right? And they've made it very, very easy. So love
Yeah.
it, man. This is
Yeah, man.
great.
Yeah.
This is
So
very cool.
yeah, so I think we just want to give people many options, and we have a list builder option within Deal Machine where they can pull a list and reach out that way too. That's definitely an option. It's going to take more marketing. It's going to take more outreach, more postcards, more calls, all of that to land a deal that way. Just because you're pulling a list that other investors, it's more likely to be properties targeted by other investors, right? And that's the whole point of driving for dollars, is saying, okay, find those properties that wouldn't pop up on a list like that, because you're driving around and you're identifying physical distress and building your own list that no one else has. So we want to give people tools to do all these different options, but virtual now is really easy right inside the app. And excited to share this update.
Very, very cool, Matt. That's really, really cool. Guys, don't forget, if you have not already signed up for Deal Machine, they give you a 7-day free trial, which is awesome, because you can go in and you can use it for an entire week for free. Use the link below this video or use code Dave when signing up. Reason being is these awesome people, Matt included, over at Deal Machine, are going to hook you up, and they're going to throw in $15 worth of deal credits if you use the link below this video, or just use code Dave, DAVE, when signing up. And you can use those that $15 worth of deal credits to skip trace and or send direct mail in the app. So if you're a little skeptical, take advantage of that 7-day free trial. Use the code Dave, get the free credits, skip trace a couple properties in your neighborhood, send yourself a postcard, right? You can do that with those credits. So you can start to get a feel for how the app works. And man, I've been a customer for probably going on 3.5, 4 years at this point.
Oh, wow.
Absolutely love Deal Machine. I love driving for dollars. It's some of the best and easiest and cost-effective ways of getting motivated seller leads, as well as helping to connect with these individuals so you can go out and meet these people, set appointments, send offers, whatever it takes to acquire these deals. I love it. It's awesome. Very cool.
I love the pro tip of sending a mailer to yourself too, and you really get like a feel for what that experience is. I mean,
it makes it real. I mean, if you just go send them to your neighbors and you don't ever see it,
right?
Like I get a couple in the mail almost every day, Matt, that come back.
Yep.
Right. But I know that it's I don't mind. I love that, because I know, hey, we need to skip trace these people and really reach them. If my mail is coming back, so is everybody else's mail. But I also don't mind seeing those, because I know that my team is using it. Right. We're out driving for dollars, or even doing it virtually. We're sending postcards to people. And it just, the more marketing efforts that we all do, the more we can generate leads, which turn into deals. It's just, you got to start with the marketing. Deal Machine has made it really, really easy to locate the properties, locate the property owners, be able to market to these individuals, or even just contact them directly, as well as additional things like you had mentioned with comps and automated lists and all kinds of cool virtual tools to drive for dollars. And just, you guys have built out, an amazing product that is probably the easiest way for people that are getting into real estate investing or real estate marketing, wholesaling, whatever it is, right? It's probably the easiest way to get invested and get involved and start actually doing the activities that investors do. A lot of times I'll talk to people, Matt, and they'll say, oh, I've been doing real estate for 3 months now. And I'll say, great, how many offers have you made? And they'll be like, and I'll be like, well, you're not really doing in all of the real estate investor activities, because there's really only a couple: marketing, making offers, following up, and then doing deals. There's only 3 or 4 things that you can be doing. And if you're not making offers to people, you're not really you're not doing all of the activities that real estate investors are doing. So
Yeah.
you guys make it very,
100%.
very easy though to market and get in touch with these people, which is awesome. That's typically the hardest part, you know?
Yeah, working on it every day. I mean, and that's the thing. That's why we talk about going off market is like, man, the demand is insanely high right now. You know, inventory is all time low. So we want to give people the tools to say, hey, you know, take matters in your own hands and go off market, go directly to the seller. I think one thing that I saw Dig ask in the comments here said, how up to date are the images of the virtual driving for dollars? I know, David, you talked about that a little bit. You know, one pro tip I think that really, really helps when it comes to the virtual side is, you know, whenever you actually look at a property picture, say it says it's, you know, a year old or 2 years old, which it'll show you with Deal Machine. It'll tell you like, when was this in? It'll say it in the bottom, it'll be labeled right there on the virtual D4D stuff. So you'll be able to see, you know, what areas are more up to date, and you'll be able to know if you can rely on that picture. I'd say if it's within a year or two, that's pretty good.
Even 2 years is pretty good in my opinion.
For sure. But
You know?
it is 2 years old. One pro tip is go in there and then look at our data around the last sale date. And if it's a 2-year-old property, but it was sold, you know, last year, then you know, hey, you know, you're too late. It's changed hands already. So that's a really good way to weed out those properties is if, you know, if you're going through an area, look at when that picture was taken, compare that to the sale date. And that way you can get to know and make sure that the leads you're adding are still, opportunities that probably look similar to what they were taken, you know, at the time of that picture.
Man, I love it. I love doing these impromptu lives. We did not have this planned. I was just texting with Matt. He's like, dude, have you seen the new deal updates? And I'm like, no, but I'd love to just go live and learn a little bit more about it and also show anyone and everybody that's also interested in using Deal Machine. I love it. Matt, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for going live with me. Guys, if you just now are joining, go back and watch this entire video. It's only about 25 minutes long. We talk about some of the new features. We talk about the new virtual driving map, the new interface on the phone, the new interface on your computer, and tons of additional things. Don't forget, guys, you can get 100 free skip traces. If you use code Dave, they give you a 7-day free trial. And this is by far the best app to drive for dollars. It's really the best marketing app for anybody that's new to real estate investing, because it's going to be the easiest and simplest way to get in touch with motivated sellers for the least amount of money, period. It's it. Yeah. It's that simple. So Matt.
Most investors, that's how they're landing their first deal, is driving for dollars. So, hey, we'll give you the tools to make it easy.
Love it, man. Hey, thanks again for coming on with me. We'll do this again in a week or two. You're the